Turning chords on their ears. Sight reading is much easier when you learn to read the note configurations on the staff instead of reading individual notes. Major and minor chords are both made up of 3 notes, and each of these chords have a root position, a first inversion, and a second inversion. Now, no matter what key, when basic, major, or minor triads are written on the staff, the note configurations are identical. Now, this is a very, very important understanding. So pay a lot of attention and absorb it. Major and minor chords are shown on the staff using only 3 basic chord configurations. The first is a root position configuration, and this is an evenly spaced cluster of notes with the tonic at the bottom. So this is on a G line right here, so that's a G major chord. Now, first inversion configuration, this configuration has the tonic by itself up here at the top. So if it's 1 at the top, it's simple to remember. It's a first inversion. If it's all by itself, it's a first inversion. Second inversion configurations. Now this configuration always has 2 notes at the top, and the root note is the one that's in the middle, so that one right there. If there are 2 notes at the top, then it's a second inversion. Okay, I want to emphasize here that we said major or minor. It's a major or minor thing. These are the only 3 ways that basic, major, or minor are shown on the staff. Now, what makes the difference is knowing where the root note is and being able to move it around, because you see, if you take this note right here, you take this whole configuration and you move it up a half step so that the first note is right here, it becomes A minor. So this is a major chord, this is a minor chord, same exact note configuration. So you can it shows all of those configurations the same. Now, these note configurations on the staff look the same in any key. However, the key of C shows the most obvious similarities between the chord fingering positions and their staff notations, just the way that it is. Fingering positions of chords in other keys may look different because you see you have to use sharps and flats, but it doesn't matter with the written notes. Whenever basic major or minor chords are written, the note configurations on the staff are always the same. Let's take a look at this. Why it is so important to being able to play well. If you don't have to read the individual music, but you read the position and you just mimic the position you see on the staff. But to do that, you've got to be able to visualize the staff sideways. So a root position chord on its side looks like this root position C chord from here to here. Can you see the similarity between the symmetry of that and this? Same thing for the minor. You move this thing up to an A. Here's an A minor. This is the A space. Looks exactly the same. So when you're playing, you don't pay too much attention. You pay attention to what the tonic is. The tonic in the root is always the lowest note. So that's going to be a C, that's going to be an A minor. The root position on its side looks like a root position C or A minor. Example number 2, let's look at first inversions. Same thing, a first inversion on its side looks like a first inversion F or D minor, and it doesn't make any difference, again, if it's a major chord or a minor chord. The configuration is exactly the same. So if you see these configurations, you know what to play quickly because you know the chord. Now on a first inversion, it is named by the note that is all by itself at the top. In this case, this one over here is an F, and this one is on the D, so this is a D minor. Here's a third example, second inversions. Now in this case, a second inversion on its side looks like a second inversion G or E minor. Can you see it? Can you see it? This is a real revelation to people who've played for a long time but never really truly understood. Now, as you get better at this, you can read even more difficult configurations of notes. I read a lot more than that and can mimic a lot more than just 3 notes at a time. But keep in mind, this is a major part of knowing how to play by ear or how to read music real well. Again, here's the minor of it. Looks exactly the same here. Now, again, the key of C is ideal. It shows almost the exact mimic. In other keys, it doesn't look exactly the same, but I think you can get a good idea what's going on. Here's the key of A, for example, the fingering position in the key of A. This is a root position. This, of course, is a first and a second inversion. See, regardless of the key signature notation, a chord configuration stays the same for the different inversions. So again, like what we're looking at here, you see it's got this key signature that always blows people's mind. I don't want to play in anything that's got 3 sharps. Well, it doesn't make any difference. You're only talking about 8 notes. And that's all that represents, is the 8 notes that start at the A. So it shows the sharps that go in the order for the major scale. That's all it does. But notice, the configuration is exactly the same. Now, this one is not as graphic as C. I mean, C looks just like it, but you can see that this is pretty consolidated. I think that you can see that that's going to be the root position A. It's being named for that space right there. Again, the first inversion looks a little bit different, but I think you can tell. We got this single note right here at the top all by itself, just like just like on the staff. So there we go. That's a first inversion A. And again, this one here is a little bit more confusing because this is kind of evenly spread out. So one might say, well, that looks like a root position, but I think you can see that it's a further span than this one right here. And so this one you just got to get an understanding for it. It's a second inversion. There's 2 at the top. The one that names it, of course, is that one. It's the A.